President Harris, I'd just like to start off by saying I appreciate your statement that you're going to look at the impact on people. Many of the people that I represent right now are struggling. And so this extra cost, honestly, they're not going to be able to do anything to offset that. Home heating costs are up 20 to 30% this winter. And we have already had in my district multiple days of 20 to 30 below zero. There was a mention of heat pumps a few minutes ago. I have a constituent who just bought a new heat pump and invested in it, and the heat pump will not work because the temperature is so cold. So either for NYSERDA or PSC, can you tell me what is causing the huge spike with regards to heating costs, and is there anything that can be done immediately to help homeowners?
Certainly. Chair Christian, maybe would you like me to start with that?
Yeah, I can follow up after. Yeah. Okay.
Certainly. So we certainly do need and continue to prioritize affordability, and to the prior question, reliability in every decision that we make. Certainly we at NYSERDA have a number of programs that are focused on just that, which is bringing forward solutions to help address people's challenges with bills and other, I would say, adoption of technologies that really can help them in the long term, not only from a cost perspective, but again, from a decarbonization perspective as well. When we talk about heat pumps, I need to say, heat pumps work in cold climates. They work in Northern Europe as an example, where it's even colder than it is here today at a scale which is commensurate with the scale that we really need to achieve as a state to achieve the Climate Act goals. But it is the case that we need installations that are smart, that are coupled with highly efficient homes, and technologies that are designed to work in cold climates like upstate New York in particular. So for your particular constituent, I would hope they would reach out directly to NYSERDA, as we're happy to help with the solutions that are needed to achieve that objective. Generally, though, with respect to the variability, and I would say the challenges of fluctuating prices, it is largely the function of the grid that we have today, which is highly reliant on natural gas and volatile prices that come from forces far outside of New York. So ultimately, one primary goal of the future that we see is to address some of those issues with volatility in prices. The adoption of electrification technologies and a highly clean localized grid can really help in that respect. And it is a future that we see as beneficial for reasons as described, including the question of stable pricing that people can plan around. Chair Christian, anything you would want to add?
I think you've done a great job of capturing the global perspective of it. And I want to, I think it's important to recognize that this is truly a global issue. Energy costs in Europe right now are among the highest they've been for a variety of reasons, some of which are supply-based, some are political in nature. But ultimately, there are two sides to the cost conversation. There's the cost of the commodity itself, and then there's the cost of the infrastructure needed to bring that commodity to that person's home, be it natural gas, electricity, whatnot. Looking at what the Public Service Commission regulates, we regulate investments in that infrastructure, and thinking through where those have been over the last few years. I think back to 2021 in particular, given the quantity of dollars utilities have requested, and I look at the approvals that the PSC has provided, ultimately, when you compare the two, the PSC has approved cost increases of 8% of what the utilities originally requested. So we've done a fairly aggressive job of keeping costs for infrastructure in line, and that's the role that the commission and staff will continue to have and hold. But again, from an affordability perspective, I also want to reinforce the existence of the various energy affordability programs that exist within the state, many of which have been expanded in response to the hardships individual consumers are experiencing as a result of the pandemic. So in addition to maintaining a posture where we're rigorously reviewing the costs for the infrastructure needed on an ongoing basis as a core responsibility of our role, we're also ensuring that those in need have the resources with which to continue and maintain the service upon which they rely.
Okay, and just as a follow-up to the Assemblyman's question, what is the state doing to ensure that the reliability of the energy system will not be impacted by the provisions under the CLCPA? I don't know if you want to address that.
Yeah, I can take
NYSERDA
that.
wants to.
Okay,
Well, I'll take this one. I mean, again, in terms of, that is the core function of the Public Service Commission, one of the core functions to ensure reliability. Again, the draft scoping plan has been released. A final plan, as you all know, has not been finalized. So the exact steps and actions we will be taking to meet the goals have not been fully defined. We have a clear path on where we need to go with respect to installing renewable energy. And as has been stated by President Harris, we're well on our way to meeting those goals for 2030. The key is then establishing the infrastructure and system to ensure the reliability is met. So that is at the forefront of our work. That's ever present in our thinking and our approach, and is a key priority and something that will not go unaddressed as we move forward.
Okay, I'm going to kind of change directions here. My next question is about the 500 million for the development of offshore wind ports, manufacturing, supply chain infrastructure. Can you tell me where the money will be used and where the wind turbines will be located?
certainly. This year's executive budget from Governor Hochul includes a $500 million line item for the provision of investments in New York's port infrastructure. That is anticipated to be expended over a period of 5 years, just for clarity, because it is the case that these ports will take a number of years to be developed and advanced and ultimately serve the industry. So New York, under the Climate Act, has the largest offshore wind goal in the nation. And what we are seeing is really the manifestation of the achievement of that goal, with significant investments by the private sector in our ports, in supply chain activities, and in jobs that are really bringing forward what I would say is a once-in-a-generation industry right here in New York. So the governor's commitment is really intended to build on what we're seeing. We already have 5 ports that are serving the industry, and we know we can, with this investment, achieve not only a number of additional ports or expanded ports serving the industry, but we expect 3-to-1 leverage by the private sector with that investment. And it could be coupled with what we see are significant investments from the federal government as well. So what we expect to see are new activities advancing across the state and thousands of jobs to support it.
Okay, can I
I'm
just
sorry,
can I follow up with one question? So if you have a community that is totally opposed, is that something you're going to work with the community? How will that play out?
Well, certainly when it comes to projects and ports, is your question both?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. We take very seriously not only community engagement, but community support for projects. We actually at NYSERDA have a team that is their exclusive job to work directly with host communities to help to ensure that they have the tools and resources needed to engage fully in processes like the siting offices processes and beyond. And what we see are communities that are raising their hand to host projects in those communities that need additional help. That's what we're here to do, to help make projects sited responsibly that we can all support.
Okay, thank you.